Today we're going to be going over some great coaching cues to help wide receivers break bad habits. So how this video is going to go down, you guys, is I'm going to explain a mistake or a bad habit that a lot of wide receivers make in certain aspects of their game, like route running, press releases, catching the ball, and then I'm going to give you a phrase or a coaching cue that you can think about while you're performing route running drills, routes on air, whatever the case may be, to break this bad habit for you. So the first bad habit is wide receivers who like to raise up before they cut. So let's say it's a route like a curl or a comeback, right? On a curl or comeback, I have to drop my hips to be able to change direction. So let's say I'm running a comeback, quarterback's over here, I got to break this way. I want to snap down, drop my hips, and then be able to get out of the break. And be able to get out of the break at a sharp angle, I got to get low. So a lot of receivers, before they snap down, they raise up to drop down because they're trying to get so low. And I can appreciate that, but if I got a DB who's on my hip or an off coverage and he sees my chest raise up, that raises my hips and that tells him a break's coming, and that decreases my separation. So a coaching cue that you could think about running or pulling a sled. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen those like speed training sleds where you strap this thing over your shoulders and you have a sled behind you. You don't run like this because you ain't gonna go anywhere. You have a slight lean forward and you are driving. We want that slight lean forward going into the break. So if you could think coaching cue, pulling a sled until we get to the break point, that's gonna help you break that bad habit of raising up. Now, if you're a wide receiver, guys, and you struggle knowing what to do in the gym and on the field and how to make workouts for yourself, check out that very first link in the description below for our elite wide receiver training package. What you'll get access to is 2 months of daily wide receiver gym exercises and on-field route running workouts. We give you the exact sets and reps to follow, and we give you a video example of each drill and gym exercise. So guys, if that's of interest to you, you feel like you could get some value out of that, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, the next bad habit we're going to be going over is wide receivers in press who don't step outside of a DB's frame. So let's say, for example, I line up, let's say this orange cone's the line of scrimmage, say the quarterback's over there, my left foot's up, and I got a DB who's right in front of my face. A lot of wide receivers, they'll do the different releases, but they never actually threaten a DB by stepping outside of his frame. So a DB guy's in press. Where are his eyes supposed to be? His eyes are supposed to be watching my hips. So a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll keep their body in this middle like lane, if you will, and they'll just step. But their hips never go anywhere. Their body never goes anywhere, and that's why they get locked up off the line, because we're not actually selling it. For a DB to move, you guys, let's say I want to get him to move outside so I can go back to the inside, I got to bring my hips all the way over here when I throw this cut, because that is what gets him to move. That actually makes it look like I'm moving in that direction. So a great coaching cue that I'll tell my receivers, a coaching tip, if you will, is if you got a DB who's in head up, you want to think you're putting your body into a driving lane. So think about being on a highway. You got the middle lane, you got the left lane, and you got the right lane. If I'm trying to get this DB to move to the right lane, I want to take my body and move it to the right lane. If I want to make him move to the left, I got to take my body and move it to the left lane. Your body moving is just as important as your feet, and that'll help you get more separation against press coverage. Now, the next bad habit that wide receivers will have has to do with their catching ability. So a lot of wide receivers are running over the middle, and honestly, in any situation, ball hits their hands and they want to turn upfield and score too quickly. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard this before. Oh, look the ball into the tuck, but I'm going to give you a great coaching cue, or this is even a drill that you can do to help you work on not looking the ball in. A lot of receivers will be running, that ball hit their hands, they take off, and that's why they drop that thing or even bobble that thing, which is not consistent catching mechanics that we need. So a drill that you could do, I tell my wide receivers, this is the coaching cue: laces or no laces. And what that means is that when you're warming up with a quarterback, you're doing drills, quarterback throws you a ball, and this is best to do on air. Quarterback throws you a ball, you catch it, you tuck it away, and you have to verbally call out no laces, or if you see the laces, laces. And you calling it out holds you accountable to actually looking the ball in. If you just have a coach tell you, hey, make sure you look it into the tuck, you have nothing that's holding you accountable to look it into the tuck other than trusting yourself, right? And a lot of guys have such a bad habit of this, they don't actually do it. So having to call out something like laces or no laces forces you to look that ball in to the tuck before you get upfield. Now, the next bad habit that wide receivers will have is that they are very slow with their hip drop into breaks. So let's say, for example, I got to run a 12 back to 10-yard curl. Let's say my quarterback's over here, I'm bursting up all the way to 12 yards. I obviously got to drop my hips like we talked about earlier in this video, but when guys drop their hips, they have a slow sink of their hips. They get low, they get to 90 degrees, and then they get out. But it takes them like 8 business days to be able to get out of the break. So what we need to do is we need a violent and quick hip drop to take me to that 90-degree angle. Now, me just saying, hey, drop violently, or hey, drop a little bit faster, is maybe not the best piece of advice. It may not click for a lot of wide receivers. So a good coaching cue that I'll tell guys, pretend there is a string attached to your chin, because when we drop, you guys, you want to bring your chin to your knee. That's the magic spot. That's 90 degrees. That's low enough with my chest to where I can stop myself and keep my arms pumping to make me get out. I say pretend there's a string attached to your chin, and at the break point, which in this case would be 12 yards, somebody grabbed the string and pulled it down as hard as they can to your knee. So you get up to 12, string pull. And that string pull, that violent drop, helps you decelerate faster and get in and out of your brakes with more speed.